Hello, everyone, and welcome to this evening's virtual information session. My name is Kelly Williams. I'm the Outreach and Alumni Coordinator at LFCC, and before that, I was a student myself. So I hope that whatever I and the others have to share with you today is helpful, not just from the perspective of someone who's worked at LFCC, but someone who's gone to LFCC. So we're going to go ahead and get started by introducing those that are going to be here to present to you, and if they could unmute themselves, say hey, and wave, that would be fantastic. So the first is Lori Killough. She's the program lead.
Hi, I'm here.
And the second is Greg Anderson. He is the Director of Advising.
Hello.
And the third is going to be Alexis Stiles. She's an alum of LFCC.
Hi.
All right, so now that we've introduced everyone, just want to let you know what we're going to go over today. Lori's going to talk to you about each of the education programs at LFCC, followed by Greg letting you know if you want to go into education, how to enroll. And then Alexis is going to share her experiences to kind of encourage you and inspire you as you seek to inspire the next generation. So Lori, are you ready?
I am. Do I just say okay and you're going to flip the slides for me?
Yes. Perfect.
Great. Thank you. All right. So I'm Lori Killough. I am the program lead for education programs, all the education programs at Lord Fairfax. We have several of them. A little background on me. I've been teaching for more decades than I care to count. But I started in the public school system teaching very young kids, special ed kids, and middle school kids. And here I am now at the college level and absolutely loving my life at Lord Fairfax, even though I'm not actually at Lord Fairfax now. But anyway, I'm going to go through all the programs with you, and I hopefully that'll be helpful for you. So, okay, Kelly? Next slide. There we go. There are a lot of pathways that lead to a career in education at Lord Fairfax. So you're probably wondering, well, which program should I be in? Because it could be the early child development program, it could be education, liberal arts, general studies, or science, or the Associates of Arts and Sciences in Science. So I'm going to try to clear that up for you a little bit today, but be thinking about any one of those pathways could actually get you to a career in education. Kelly? The way to answer that question is to ask yourself, what is it you want to teach? And if you want to teach pre-K through 3, then the best program to be in is the Associates of Applied Science in Early Childhood Development. And then the chart's there in front of you. I'm not going to read it to you. And even within that chart, that's a guideline. There is wiggle room there. A lot of people just want to be in the Associates of Arts and Sciences degree in education because they want that education name on their degree, and that's fine. You can do that too. Kelly? You've got to think about, aside from teaching, if there's other plans in your future. Maybe you want to be a guidance counselor one day, an administrator, a reading specialist, or maybe you want to teach at the college level. Those are all going to be master's programs, so you're going to want to get through your bachelor's degree, your associate's degree, your bachelor's degree, teach probably for a little bit, and then work on your master's degree where you could get that specialized training. Kelly? So let's start out with early childhood development, otherwise known as early childhood education. Now, the Department of Social Services is separate from the Department of Education. So let's talk about the Department of Social Services first. Kelly? All right, they oversee child care centers, family day home centers, programs like Head Start. A really good credential for that is the CDA. Some of you may have heard of that. That is done through a private entity. But an even better credential is the Career Studies Certificate in Early Childhood Development. And I'm not saying that because, I want to promote that, although I do. I'm saying that, though, because that's what the Department of Social Services tells us, that they prefer a Career Studies Certificate from a community college in Virginia over that CDA. But even better than that is the brand new Career Studies Certificate in Advanced Early Childhood Development. So there's 2 Career Studies certificates you can get with just a little bit of extra work for that advanced. And then, of course, there is the most awesome credential, which is the Associates of Applied Science from a community college. But that would be for somebody who wants to work in the child care business pre-K generally. The Department of Education, on the other hand, they oversee our public schools. And notice Head Start is in both sides. That's because Head Start is located inside some public schools governed by the public school system, but there are some independent Head Starts as well, and throughout the state, throughout the nation, actually. Now, if you want to get a teaching license and teach in a K through 12 school system, then you definitely need to go into the Associates of Arts and Sciences degree for a more smooth transition to your bachelor's degree. But you must have at least a bachelor's degree to teach in a public school in Virginia. All right, so there's a little bit of a layout of the pathway in early childhood development, starting at the bottom. You get that career studies certificate, and you can either go straight to the workforce in a child care center, or you can start your own business in your own home if you want. Or you can move on and get that advanced early childhood development. That's going to give you a little bit more of your administrative coursework that you need to know the business end of early childhood centers and home businesses. And then, of course, you can move on ahead to get that Associates of Applied Science degree in early childhood. These are stackable credentials. That means every single course you take in the career studies certificate, every single one, flows directly into the next degree above it. So then the advanced early childhood development stacks into the associate's degree. And then that transfers smoothly to some universities within the state of Virginia for a clean 2+2. That means 2 years community college, 2 years at university, giving you that full degree. That's 2 full-time years, however. All right, looking at education. The Associates of Arts and Sciences degree in education might be the path you take. It could be general studies or liberal arts or science, and that's going to then take you to transfer to university. Next. The key question is, what is it you want to teach and where do you want to transfer? And if you don't know right now, that's okay, but it's something you need to start thinking about pretty soon, okay? Because you want to plan starting at the community college level. If you start in general studies and then you decide you want to do pre-K through 3, there's going to be some coursework lost there. So the sooner you can figure out what it is you want to teach and where you want to transfer, the better off you're going to be. And if you don't know for sure, start by a process of elimination. Do you want to be a physics teacher? Because we really need physics teachers. So if you want to be a physics teacher, that's a good thing to know. But if maybe you can eliminate that altogether. So anyway, that's something to think about. Tests. They've been around forever. They're not going away. Part of the program requires you to make a smooth transfer to university. You're going to need to pass the math core praxis. Okay, they're getting much more flexible on that now because of new regulations have come from the state, but you still have to take that core praxis math. And then there's something called the VCLA, which is the Virginia Communication and Literacy Assessment, and that is a reading and writing assessment. That is actually required for teacher licensure. That's going to be required by the Department of Education when you apply for your teaching license. So the sooner you can knock that out, the better. I tell my students that if you've done all your math in high school, and high school wasn't too long ago, you're probably ready to take it. If you've done English 111 and 112, you're probably ready for that VCLA. If you need to brush up on math, the MTEs are always a good place to go, find out which ones you need. Math 154 is a good place to go as well. Or you can skip all of that if you have the proper SAT and ACT scores. And I won't go into what those cut scores are right now. Just know that if you took them, that might be good enough to waive those other tests. All right, so the top 10 critical shortage teaching endorsement areas in Virginia. Are you ready? Drum roll. There they are in front of you. There is a severe shortage of teachers pretty much in every area in the state of Virginia and actually across the country. But these are where it is the most critical. Now look at number 2, elementary education. Now, if you have your heart set on staying in the Shenandoah Valley area, you may or may not get a job right away. Some parts of the state have a more critical shortage than others. But if you are willing to move to Northern Virginia or the Virginia Beach area, there are jobs to be had there. So what's the number 1 area? Special education. It has always been the number 1 teacher shortage area in every state. So if you have the heart and soul and toughness to do special education, then that is a good option for you. All right, here's some just general information. Childcare workers and directors do not make a ton of money, but people in education generally don't anyway. We're not in it for the money. We're in it because we have a heart for for education. We have a heart for young people. So I won't read those numbers to you. You can take a look at them. Know that if you want to pursue an administrative degree, that will of course bring you a little bit extra money, but money is fluid, and when there's budget crunches, sometimes that gets chopped. All right, there I am, and there's my contact information, and myself and Greg Anderson, we're here to help you in any way we can. So if you need to reach out to us, please do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori, again, for sharing more information with us about each of the programs, the careers, the salaries, but really what gets down to it. And it's that passion, like you said, for young people. So with that being said, again, if someone's thinking, okay, this is definitely the career path for me, how do I get started? Greg, can you answer those questions for them?
Well, I'll do my best, Kelly. Thank you. I think if you're interested in getting started at LFCC, the best place to go is to lfcc.edu. And on the button there, just click on something that says Future Students. And then there's a button that says New Student Steps. And that will lead you to the application for admission and all the documents that you need to submit. And once you work through that process, which is really pretty simple, the next step is that you'll be invited to attend a new student orientation program. Following that program, and lately we've been doing them, I call it new student Zoomientation. Following that program, you'll be directed to an academic advisor. And if you are interested in a career in education and a degree or a certificate in education, you will be directed to me, because I'm the director of academic advising, but I'm also the education program advisor. And so one of the ways I introduce the process of working through the certificate or the degree plans is to think about it this way. The certificate of career studies is about 5 courses. If you do the advanced certificate, it's about 10 courses. If you do the associate degree, either applied or the Associate of Arts and Science degrees, those are about 20 courses. And then when you transfer to university, that's about 20 more. And so a 4-year college degree is approximately 40 courses. But one way to think about it is to do it in those steps, in those stackable credentials that Lori mentioned. 5, 10, 20, and then 40. And then you can be eligible to be a licensed teacher. So if you look at it in those kind of step by step, it doesn't seem so overwhelming. But I'm here to guide you, and those questions, the first question I ask every student who makes an appointment to meet with me, before we actually meet, I ask them to answer those 2 basic questions. What do you want to teach, and where do you think you want to, if you want to transfer for a 4-year degree, to which university? Because within the first year, maybe a year and a half, those are the critical decisions that you have to make. But I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Lori helps me a lot when I have questions, and between the 2 of us, we'll get you through.
Thank you so much, Greg. That's very, very encouraging for anyone watching today. So next, we're going to turn it over to Alexis Stiles. Again, she's an alum of LFCC who has gone through the steps, made it through those 20 courses and then 40 courses, and gone on to be a teacher herself. So Alexis, feel free to share your experiences with us and any advice that you think would be helpful to those students.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. Like she just said, my name is Alexis Stiles, and I graduated from Ward Fairfax in May of 2017. With my associates in education, business administration, and general studies. I chose LFCC because of the affordable tuition and the small class sizes. Lord Fairfax helped me grow like I would never have imagined. I was not even sure I was meant to go to college until I started at LFCC. I grew as a person from the rapport I created with my professors, like Ms. Killough, and then I also created rapport with my staff members and friends that I made on campus along the way. The big education class that I took through LFCC really prepared me towards finishing my undergrad courses much faster than I would have ever expected. The education program through LFCC is fantastic. I'm very thankful to have started my college career at LFCC. I went on to graduate with my bachelor's in education a year early and started teaching 4th grade at the age of 19. Being an educator is no easy task, but the impacts you can make on your students are huge. I'm starting my master's in management and leadership in July, as well as taking on a full-time director position at my gymnastics gym, where I will create curriculum, lesson plans, and teach gymnastics to all ages. My words of wisdom to our future educators are to believe in yourself. In a world of education, you will make mistakes, but don't beat yourself up over those mistakes. Just learn from them, and even on your worst days, try to stay positive. You never know who's looking up at you, because there's going to be people looking up at you every single day. They come to school for you. So just stay positive, because you can do this, and you got this, future education students of LFCC. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. You make me want to be a teacher just listening to that. So we really appreciate you being here and sharing that with us, that firsthand experience and how rewarding it's been for you. So now for all of you that are present, Lori, Greg, and Alexis, just wanted to ask you if you could think of any FAQs that you might have thought of that maybe students ask, whether they're coming to you for advising, coming to you as a professor, or even just coming to you as someone who thinks they might want to be a teacher but isn't sure. So what FAQs have you heard, and what would you say to answer to that?
I think for me, the biggest questions that future educators ask are, how hard are the tests that you have to take to go into teaching? And honestly, like, if you study for them, you're able to make it work. You can pass those tests, and you just got to be dedicated to your career, because it's really not as difficult as some people may think that they are. You just got to study and then go in there with confidence, because you can pass all of your tests.
I would add to that, the get-go, right at Lord Fairfax all the way through is very, very important, because you're going to do another test right before you student teach called the Praxis Specialty Test. It used to be called Praxis 2, if you ever hear anybody still using that old terminology. And that is basically a test where you prove you have the knowledge. So you're going to do a test where there's a little bit of biology on it. There's a little bit of math. It's all those things you've been taking. So even in those courses you may not like, they're not your favorite, they're important, because you're going to be tested on them later on. You can't teach what you don't know. So you've got to know all of it. And that to me is something students need to really know and pay attention to.
I think in my experience, and I've been an academic advisor for more decades probably than Lori's been a professor and a teacher. A good number of students whom I work with are returning adults who are, over the age of 25 or so, and they've had a career already. Some are separated from the military. Some have, worked in service industries. I work today with a student who's in her 40s and is, lost her job in a restaurant due to the current unemployment rates, and she wants to go back to school and be a high school science teacher. So I probably had an hour-long conversation with her today about how she could do that, how she was perfectly capable of doing that. And yes, the few college credits that she completed 6 years ago will indeed apply to her progress toward this endeavor. And so credit that you've earned in a prior college attempt or, period in your life, and sometimes you can earn credit for prior learning through other means, through a certification program that you took, through work experience. And you can also earn credit through exams, as Alexis shared with us today before we went live and recording this. And so there are many different pathways and many different starting points. So don't let your age or your lack of experience discourage you. If you have a passion to work with young people, middle-sized people, or older ones, then go for it and give it a shot. You certainly have the intellect. You just have to have the interest and the passion.
I have one more. When Greg and I both spoke about knowing what it is you want to teach and where you want to transfer, and why that's so important is this. We're going to require, Lord Fairfax is going to require you to take a science class. It's going to require you to take math class. But based on where it is you want to transfer, that will determine which science and which math class you take right now at Lord Fairfax. So don't wait too long to figure that out, and speak to an advisor, Greg or myself. And don't be afraid to reach out to your university and say, what course do you want me to take while I'm at community college?
Thank you, Lori, Greg, and Alexis. What I'm hearing from all of you is that if you have the passion, there is a pathway, and that there will always be people supporting you 100% of the way. So again, for any of you that are listening right now, again, just be encouraged. After this session, we're going to send an email to anyone who registered with each of their contact information and ways to get started at LFCC. And maybe if you're watching this session and again, you just want to get started, just like Greg said, it's lfcc.edu and future students. So kind of as a closing then, just want to let you all know we've been open for 50 years, which is just crazy to think about in all the best ways. But in 50 years, your future has been our focus and that has not changed. So again, just feel free to reach out with anything that you need. Otherwise, everyone have a good night.